Okay, so my nephew is a huge Star Wars fan, appropriately so. Every time he walks over into my little work area over here, he sees the lightsabers that I have built from previous videos, which you'll see right here. I have a little collection of lightsabers. I have Mace Windu's, Obi-Wan Kenobi's from episode 3, Qui-Gon Jinn's, and Yoda's. I was going for like a Jedi Council theme, and my holder had 4 slots, so I figured those were the 4 ones that I definitely wanted. Anyway, every time he's over here, he sees them, he picks them up, and he wants to play with them. And these were put together in a very specific way where they could be taken apart to show people that came over that were interested in how they were made, that they were just separate pieces that were snapped together, essentially. And then I glued some of them, painted some of them, blah, blah, blah. So every time he picks one up and he wants to play with it, it's like, ooh. So during this time of everybody staying at home, me and him decided that a cool arts and crafts project for us to do would hop over to the interwebs and find a lightsaber that he liked, and we did. It was called a Sith Stalker lightsaber. Super cool design. Anyway, he found a super cool lightsaber, so we decided to build a super cool lightsaber. To figure out how we wanted it to be painted and stuff, he kind of went into our chalkboard. After he colored it up on the chalkboard, kind of got an idea of exactly how he wanted the color scheme to be on it, so it was time to get to work. I will say I had several problems with this print. Partially 3D printer problems, also just problems with the prints themselves, where it was almost like my 3D printer, one whole, maybe 2 or 3 layers through, it just kind of missed and it just didn't print anything. And then it finally kind of worked itself out and it fixed itself. However, as soon as I took them off the print bed, they all snapped in half. So it was immediately off to epoxy work. That's what you're gonna see right here, is me going over all of these pieces, basically gluing them back together with epoxy. And then some of the pieces, after I epoxied them together and was sanding on them and working on them further, I broke them again. So I decided, okay, well, I'm gonna get all the breaking out of the way now, because it is gonna be a toy, essentially. Hopefully it stays strong. A lot of epoxy work, a Bondo work, sanding and repeat, all of those steps. We eventually got it pretty strong and sturdy though, where I was bumping it on accident against things and it was fine. Once we got to that point, I knew that it was time for paint, so we spray painted it silver, and then after I let the silver dry overnight, I masked off the areas where he wanted it to be red, and I spray painted those red. And then after the red, then it was off to hand painting the rest of it, just kind of filling in all the black areas that he wanted and kind of roughing it up. He specifically said that he wanted it to look like it had been in one battle, and he's been playing on the trampoline pretending that he's like training to become a Sith, and that we're building his lightsaber, so when the lightsaber's done, he's gonna become a Sith, and he's like super pumped up about it. So therefore I was getting kind of pumped as I was painting it, because it's like I'm passing it on to him. And though it looks good on my stand, it is not mine, it is all his, and he's gonna play with it until he breaks it, I promise. Without further ado, this is kind of what we've got. A very cool silver, some really cool weathering and stuff. I'll put some pictures, some up close detail pictures. Maybe I'll try to put a side-by-side here and a picture of his little sketch on the chalkboard there. But it's life size and he designed it. So when he sees it tomorrow, he has not seen this yet. The last time he saw it, it was just in the silver form, and I let him play with it for a day to see if it was gonna break. And I found out that he played with it on the trampoline. I told him that's how I knew he was really becoming a Sith, because he took something as sacred as a lightsaber and he did something as reckless as jumped on the trampoline with it, but he didn't break it, so he deserves it to be painted. So when he gets here tomorrow, he's gonna see it with the red spokes, the black that I filled in. He even said it would be cool if it has a red button, and it even has a red button. Even though it looks cool on my stand, it's not gonna stay on my stand. But this was a fun little build that I was doing in between the processes of my BD1, letting the epoxy dry and the Bondo dry on all of those pieces. It was a fun little in-between project. I hadn't made a lightsaber in a long time, so it wasn't my traditional way of doing lightsabers, but it did make me want to get back into it. I will post some links for the other lightsaber builds that I have done. Other than that, this was fun to watch his chalkboard sketch come to life. So we will see you guys in the next video. Super glad I got that off my chest.